Welcome to The Connector Life with Kimber Booth, a blog of insights for connectors who are experts at connecting and uniting people, knowledge, and resources. And their success stems from bringing a level of energy and clarity for themselves and others. Hello, this is Kimber Booth. Tonight on The Connector Life, we're going to be talking about decision fatigue. Now, you may be aware of decision fatigue, but unfortunately most people are unaware of this phenomenon and how it affects them, and most importantly, how to avoid it. So I don't know if you've experienced, feeling tired at the end of the day. Well, we probably all have, but maybe we don't know why we're so tired. Maybe you've made poor decisions towards the end of the day, maybe losing some willpower and partaking of a meal or snack that you shouldn't, or maybe you've bought something that you didn't plan to buy. These are examples of where decision fatigue comes in. And I know I definitely have had this experience, and I want to share with you why you should pay attention to this as part of your growth and productivity planning. It's really important aspect to understand decision fatigue, and there are really good ways to avoid it. So really, what is it? Let's start and be grounded in the definition of what it is. And, some of the research. We won't, do a lot on the research, but definitely want to share with you some of the key aspects. And at the end of the day, it means that people make worse decisions after making a lot of decisions. So yeah, actually it's true. Research shows that making decisions, that simple act, over time leads to a degradation, and it degrades your ability to make further decisions. And former President Obama has been quoted as saying, "Manage your life as a president requires that you cut away those mundane and frustrating decisions." So think about your day. When are you making decisions? From the time you wake up, you're probably deciding, do I want to exercise? Do I want to get up and eat? What am I going to wear? What do I have to do today? What's my list? Should I speak up at this meeting today? Should I call this person? What do I do with all these emails that are coming in, every single email? I have to admit, this is a huge drain for me, and I would say this is probably my biggest pain point, and honestly why I wanted to post this session tonight, because I've definitely been feeling decision fatigue, and for me, a big cause of this is my email. And some of the changes that have happened with the way email's managing in my day job. So really, decisions are nonstop in our day, but there's things we can do to avoid it. So when we think about decision fatigue, I just want to break it down a little bit. So the fatigue that you have from decision fatigue is different than the physical fatigue you might feel, from exercising. And it can often go unrecognized. But it really is being low on mental energy. So think about it. You can feel exhausted at the end of the day, but you probably didn't do too much physical activity. Hopefully you've gotten your 10,000 steps in during the day. So this fatigue has also been called cognitive depletion, and it really can lead to this feeling of overwhelm and mental exhaustion. And it can lead to poor decisions, as I gave examples of. And I wanted to share a few more that are really caused by some lack of willpower. And some may not seem too serious, such as eating those potato chips when you knew you shouldn't, or buying the extras at the car dealership when you're looking for a car. But there are some examples from the research where, in one case, Danziger and colleagues had researched the decisions made by judges. And they looked at the quality of those decisions compared to based on the time of day that they made those decisions. So when they looked at this research study, all of the people that were incarcerated, everything was equal with them. The crime that they had committed, the sentence, their ethnicity, everything was the same. So everything was equal except for the time that they appeared in front of the judge. And those inmates who came to the parole hearing in the morning were paroled 70% of the time in the morning, But if it was later in the day, they were paroled less than 10% of the time. So 70% in the morning, less than 10%. So definitely people were hoping for their mornings, right? So why is this though? Does it mean that the afternoon was a poor decision? What they researched and found is that the tired brain, so the exhausted brain from decision fatigue, tends to make two shortcuts to conserve energy. And the first one is to act impulsively. So I didn't talk about that so much, but definitely decision fatigue can kind of lead to irrational behavior. I know I have been caught a few times snapping at my husband, probably because of decision fatigue, but it is an aspect, unfortunately, where your brain does take that shortcut and kind of acts impulsively, and that's where you see either lashing out, poor behavior, as well as maybe, again, making poor decisions. The other aspect in terms of the shortcuts is that the brain decides to do nothing, kind of avoid and kind of shut down. And that is where they think the judges are choosing, we're going to avoid this decision, we're just going to take the safe way out, we're not going to make a decision to let the person be paroled, we're going to just keep them here so we avoid that decision. So again, these are examples of where decision fatigue can have some minor impacts, but also could ultimately have some severe impacts. So, let me know, in the comments as you see this, where you think you've seen yourself suffering from these kind of symptoms of decision fatigue. So next, I wanted to share with you what are some action steps. What could be your action plan to prevent decision fatigue? The overall goal is to really reduce or automate decisions. So ultimately, if we reduce the number or automate them, we should suffer less decision fatigue. And so there's 4 areas that I want to share with you around decision fatigue prevention. One is eliminate decisions. Second is to plan ahead. Third is to automate. And fourth is to have a decision-making strategy. So I like this topic, and I think it can be fun. So the first area is, eliminating decisions. So think about your wardrobe. I know that I've read about this in the past, and I think it's very interesting. You're probably aware that some of our many great leaders have practiced removing decisions from their wardrobe and worn a uniform. Examples are Mark Zuckerberg wearing his famous gray t-shirts, or Steve Jobs wearing his famous black turtleneck and jeans. And even former President Obama was quoted as saying, "You'll see I wear only gray and blue suits. I choose not to make those decisions and pare them down. I don't want decisions to make decisions about what I'm eating or what I'm wearing because I have too many other decisions to make. You need to focus your decision-making energy." I think that's a very good quote and really emphasizes why we want to try to eliminate as many decisions as possible. So the reason I wanted to talk about this is I have been wondering about this for a long time. And I've been trying to find women who may be following this. So I'm really interested in knowing. It seems like this might be a little easier for men to wear this kind of uniform and pare down decisions. But maybe I'm wrong. You can tell me. But women, do you know anyone who's doing this? I did find someone as an example online. But really think about it, and most of the time women have a lot of decisions that we make. What are we going to wear with our clothing? What color handbag are we going to wear? What jewelry? What nail color? There's a ton of decisions that a woman might make around their wardrobe just in the morning. But Matilda Call, who works for an advertising agency in New York City, she had become known for wearing a uniform every day to work. She had gone out and through various perceptions, she realized this was a potential, and she wanted to look at how she could remove decisions from her morning so she could be more effective. And she bought 15 white blouses and black pants, and that's what she wore every day. And, she noticed, some initial comments, but most of the time, after a while, nobody noticed, nobody cared, and she really did notice an improved impact for her day. And while I have not trimmed down to that level, of making minimal choices, I have tried to reduce decisions when it comes to my wardrobe. So for example, I do wear black pants every day with a top and a blazer. So that's pretty standardized. And then to reduce decisions even farther, I tend to like rotate my clothes on my rack such that, I basically just take off, in the morning, I just take out the next outfit that's on the rack in my closet. And then after the laundry, I kind of put it at the end of the line. So then it just kind of moves along and it removes that decision in the morning. And that has helped me speed things up. It gives me more time in the morning to potentially meditate, exercise, etc. Meals is another area where you can remove decisions. Like former President Obama, you can remove those decisions, let somebody else decide for you. But you can also look at planning your meals in the next section. So again, the second area that you can do for this to reduce decision fatigue is to plan ahead. So meals are one way to plan ahead. If you plan your meals ahead the night before, or you pack your lunch the night before and you don't have to wake up and do it, and half the time if we do that we forget or we don't even want to take the time. But if you do it the night before, that's one option. You can also plan your meals for the whole week. So a lot of people do that on the weekends, plan their meals. I know that something that we've done with our family is tried to have like theme days. So I don't maybe plan every single meal out, but we have theme days. So actually tonight was breakfast for dinner. Yes, we like to have breakfast at dinner time sometimes. So that's kind of our Thursday night thing. There's different nights that we do, international night, a chicken night, and then usually one night a week is a really new item. So anyways, that's maybe too much than you wanted to know about me. But that is one way that I've tried to minimize decisions of what are we going to have for dinner. You want to try to schedule your day in advance. Plan your day that night before or the Friday before. So maybe you've used the Franklin Covey training, looking at planning your quadrant 2, or kind of those most important things that you need to get done. And so not the urgent, but the most important things you need to get done. Ideally, you want to be planning at the end of your day for the next day. Or you want to be planning on Friday for the following week. And why do you do that? You do that so you don't have to think about it in the morning. You go in to work, you start your day, and you know exactly what you need to do, and you conserve that decision-making capacity to just jump right in, dive right in. You want to do this on Friday before the week before. Don't try to do this on Sunday night. I know that some people kind of say like Sunday is already kind of part of Monday when you think about your work week. You really want to give yourself a true weekend. You want to plan on Friday like what you're going to do the following week. And that's just to give your mind that mental rest to say, I've planned, I know what I'm going to do on Monday, so you don't have to think about it. And then again, coming back to the wardrobe again, you could decide to at least lay out your clothes the night before. So say you don't want to pare it down as much as some of the examples we talked about. Maybe you can just put out your clothes the night before. So really though, when it comes to planning ahead, these are all decisions, right? So you're questioning like, well, how is this helping? The key is that you're doing these decisions at a better time. They're not first thing in the morning where you really need your mental energy is strongest. You want to use it on the most important things. You're usually doing this toward the end of the day. We're a little more tired. Get these activities in place so you don't have to worry about it in the mornings. But an even better way is the third area where you can automate your decisions. Let's get your life on autopilot wherever possible. Obviously, habits or routines are really good for this. So if you, again, have a morning routine, every morning I'm going to get up, drink my water, and go exercise for 30 minutes. Or every morning I'm going to get up and meditate. These are good routines to be in to help remove those decisions or, am I going to go to the gym or not? You can also use checklists or algorithms. These are very beneficial for making sure you don't forget to do something. And again, relieves your mind from having to think about, did I remember every single step? Just having it written there and following that just gives yourself a break. I know one checklist that I like to use is when I travel. I kind of have a checklist, saved within my OneNote, which is like, the Microsoft version of Evernote, if you use that tool. So I kind of have this, travel checklist. So every time I travel, I know I go through that and double check, literally check off, do I have all the things that I need? And that helps make traveling for me and the family a lot less stressful. I also want you to use technology to its full potential. I know sometimes technology can be helpful and sometimes people don't enjoy technology, but I think there's a lot it can do for us when it comes to removing decisions. I mentioned, though, it can be problematic when it comes to emails. Technology can actually be worse, but there's things we could use technology for. One example is bill pay. I know I have to make very few decisions around paying my bills anymore because they're kind of all automatically scheduled to come right out of my bank account. Or look at, automated email filing and storage of information, using knowledge management tools so that you don't have to worry and avoid the decisions of where to file these emails. I know I'll probably be doing future sessions on this Connector Life podcast and blog where we do talk about these kind of knowledge management tools to improve your productivity. So we don't have time now to go into it. And then I guess the last thing to just, ideas that came to my mind in thinking about automation is another idea around meals. And if we look at how popular some of these meal delivery companies have become, they do help you, remove decisions. You kind of get your food for the week. If you're not into ordering those full meals, you can look at even online ordering companies where you're getting it from your regular grocery store, but you're able to order online from a common list of products, so you don't have to go in and potentially have to choose between all the different flavors that are on the shelf, and that could cause some decision fatigue. So the fourth area and final area that I wanted to cover in terms of potential actions is decision-making strategy. So it's important to consider that when you do have to make decisions, that you have a plan or a process for how you're going to process these decisions. And one idea is to make small decisions fast. So don't belabor it. If it's a small decision with minimal impact, make it fast and move on. That conserves the energy around decisions. If you can delegate, delegate. If somebody else can make this decision for you, support your team members, empower them. Many times, they want to be delegated to. They want to have and be empowered to make decisions. Let them do it. And then the other area is just, having a decision strategy to manage your thoughts. And I think of David Allen, who is famous for getting things done, productivity. And really a big premise of his is get all your thoughts and ideas into one place and be clear on that, where half the time it's because our minds are racing about so many things and thinking about the decisions we have to make. He definitely says if you can get it and store it in one place, like one centralized to-do list, and have that in an organized fashion, that you capture it in one central place. And that can just remove a ton of burden if you just write it down and then maybe, write down what's the next action you have to take. So those are some key principles from a productivity standpoint. So those are the four main areas, but there's a few other extra tips that I wanted to share. And of course, it goes kind of many times without saying that you still have to take care of yourself. If your body is in good condition, if you're feeding your brain and your body well, sleeping, eating the right food, drinking plenty of water, taking breaks throughout the day, your mind will work better and it will be more resilient when it comes to decision fatigue. And another idea is to look at how can you take pressure off your loved ones or your colleagues. So obviously you're learning here on this session, and thank you again for joining me, about decision fatigue. And hopefully now you're recognizing where maybe you do have this in your life. But think about your loved ones. How can you help them understand this? And how can maybe you take away their decision fatigue? I don't know if I should share this, but one example I know that I have here with my husband and I kind of have a deal is, he does certain things around the house and then I don't have to worry about it. So he does everything with the dog, right? So I don't have to worry, is the dog due to go to the vet? Is the dog due for his shots, etc.? That is his responsibility. So that is like one less decision, or probably like 10 less decisions that I have to make. So that's been a good trade-off. So at the end of the day, you need to allow mental recovery, eliminate and automate decisions to prevent decision fatigue. If you're interested in learning more about the science behind this, I really did enjoy reading the book Willpower, Rediscovering the Greatest Human Strength. Definitely having willpower is very much tied to this decision fatigue, because that fatigue can lead to a lack of willpower. And this book does talk about, some of the science I've mentioned, as well as numerous other research studies that have shown, that this is a real thing, and some of the ways that we can combat it. So we covered today really what is decision fatigue, what is the impact of decision fatigue on our decisions and some of the negative decisions, as well as how we behave. And we talked about some action plans, both related to eliminating decisions, planning ahead, automated, and having a decision-making strategy. One of my favorite quotes in this area is by Marie Forleo, and many of you may know her as an online entrepreneur, and she's just a great role model and mentor for me. And she wrote on this subject, "Limited choices in your day can lead to limitless freedom in your life." And I'm just going to say that again. Limited choices in your day can lead to limitless freedom in your life. So I really do want you to have this freedom. So reflect on what causes you the most decision fatigue, and think about and write down one step that you will take to prevent this. You can share your comments at kimberbooth.com by joining the conversation. I would also love for you to join my email list and subscribe so that I can connect with you regularly. You'll continue to receive content from me that I don't share anywhere else, and it would be an honor for me to help to connect with you. So I hope you've enjoyed today's session. I look forward to connecting with you. Be bold, be a connector, and excel your life. Take care.